What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake and Kyle coming back at you today, doing some running back rankings. Kyle, the NFL draft is over, so we can start to dial these things in just a smidge. You know, I mean, it's still a little early, but we're starting to get a little bit better picture of what's going to be going on here in the 2020 season. So we're going to get you our top 12 overall running backs for each of us here. Kyle, how we doing?
We are doing well. Draft in the rearview mirror. So the only thing that we need to worry about now is the NFL season. And people, it's going to happen. We're going to have football this year. Okay, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. The schedule is being announced. I mean, by the time this drops, it may be, actually, this is probably going to come out the day that the schedule drops. So this should be absolutely perfect because we'll also be discussing that. So make sure you tune into that. Also, if you haven't heard yet, our 2020 Fantasy Football Draft Guide is for sale on the website. It's only $19.99, and the thing is going to be more than like 500 virtual pages. We've already started grinding. Me, Kyle, a few of the other guys on the team, we're putting together a monster of a draft guide. So if you're interested, the link is down below in the description. But Kyle, we're not going to waste any more time. We're getting right into our top 10. Why? Because you have somebody other than Christian McCaffrey at the top of your list, so it's time to explain yourself.
I do. I'm going with Barkley. Going to go with Barkley number one overall. Here's the thing. You actually kind of are responsible for this, just so you know. Because when McCaffrey signed his new deal, I even made a comment, still the 1.01 overall. And you said, is he? So you know what? Went back, thought about it a little bit more. And I said, I love Barkley. I love Barkley this year. I think Judge is just going to run the hell out of the football. And Barkley is going to be the guy at the center of that. And he's a pass catching back. I mean, he's everything that you want. So I just think his workload is going to be incredible this year. That's why I've got him at one, because maybe CMC does see a little bit of a reduction. Maybe they pull it back just a little bit. Teddy B throws it a little bit more. They've got quite a few receiving weapons. Yeah, that's why.
I mean, I get it. I still have CMC at number one, but I got Barkley at number two. Similar to you having Christian McCaffrey at number two. Honestly, we could probably put 1A and 1B. Mm-hmm. Neither one of these guys are somebody you want to avoid on draft day by any means. They're going to see the volume in the passing game. They're both going to, be about 80-plus receptions. Both have the potential to get 1,000 yards rushing and receiving on any given season. There's nothing bad you can really say. Plus, the Giants' offensive line is improved. They have a lot of weapons on the outside to pull defenders outside of the box. Christian McCaffrey, they have DJ Moore coming back, try to take another step forward here this year. They got Robbie Anderson, which I love because he can help kind of, take the top off the defense, kind of keep that defense honest. Not going to see a whole lot of stacked boxes. It's just if Teddy Bridgewater wants to continue to check down to Christian McCaffrey, he could see another huge year. But what about number three? Because that's where we start to differ a little bit. Who you got number three?
I've got Josh Jacobs. The guy has moved way up my draft boards for me. And the main reason we've already mentioned several times, at the Combine, we stood there and listened to Mike Mayock tell us Josh Jacobs is going to see an increased workload in the pass game this year. We were close enough. I could have reached up, gave him a high five. I could have hugged him too.
Flick the tip, Kyle. Flick the tip.
And so I bought into it. And not only that, but they drafted Henry Ruggs. Even though I don't think Henry Ruggs is going to be the superstar wide receiver that a lot of people think, he's still a deep threat, and he's still going to pull defenders down the field away from the box. You still have Tyrell Williams. You still have Darren Waller. You have Brian Edwards, who you also drafted. Plenty of weapons there now. So he's not going to see stacked boxes. He's going to see some big running lanes. And if he gets some dump off passes or some things in the flat, he's going to have quite a lot of room to work.
Yeah, absolutely. I have Jacobs down at number 9. I don't dislike him at all. We've both talked, numerous times here throughout the offseason on this channel, on different shows, how much we love Josh Jacobs. It really speaks, in my mind, to the amount of options that there are going to be for quality, high-end running backs this year. We're both, early running back guys. Josh Jacobs, somebody who could slip to the second round, will be an absolute steal in fantasy football. Don't dislike him, have nothing really negative to say about him there. You mentioned a lot of the other weapons there to help take off some of that pressure, and that's great. I don't think Derek Carr gets enough credit for what he does with that team, but definitely a capable quarterback to help spread the ball around. What about who you got next? Who you got at number 4 on your list, Kyle?
At number 4, my boy Joe Mixon. Okay, I even put this on Twitter the other day. I think some of you are forgetting that they had 3 injuries to the offensive line, 2 of which were starters before week 1 of the season last year. So yes, it took a while for Mixon to get going. I don't get the Mixon hate. I don't understand that the offensive line is going to be vastly improved. And Jake, you and I went back and forth on this quite a bit last night. I know you don't buy the offensive line as much as I do, but Jonah Williams is going to be back. They made a signing. They did make a pick, even though they didn't make that high of a pick on the offensive line. A guy by the name of Michael Jordan was the youngest player on the roster last year. He's one of their guards. I think he's going to take a big step forward this year. So I'm buying the offensive line. I think they're going to be a lot better. Mixon's going to have a ton of room to run. They have lots of weapons there, and this Burrow kid is pretty good.
Great concentration, Kyle, because I tried to throw you off there with a Michael Jordan Last Dance reference, and you just powered right through
it. I did. That concentration,
kudos
like
to
Michael
you, my
Jordan.
Friend. Yeah, actually. I have Joe Mixon at number 10. After going through some extensive offensive line research, which you mentioned, which will be going into the draft guide, they're improved. They're definitely improved over 2019. I just don't know if, in my opinion, they're as improved as I thought before I really dug into it. Yeah, Jonah Williams coming back is going to be a huge boost for this offensive line. But there's still some holes around there, and it's just going to be a little bit iffy. They do have the weapons, though. With Joe Burrow now under center, they'll have A.J. Green, possibly, as long as he's healthy. Tyler Boyd, John Ross. They drafted T. Higgins. There's a lot of other options there to pull defenders out of the box. Joe Mixon's going to have a great opportunity. Just worried a little bit more about that offensive line. Still got him right there at number 10, though. So who do you got number 5, Kyle?
Going with Dalvin Cook at number 5. Another big year incoming. Only reason I don't have him a little bit higher is just because I do think we see a little bit more Alexander Madison this year.
Yep, I got Cook at number 7. We know that they're going to continue to run the ball a lot there. The offense is going to run through him now that there is no more Stephon Diggs on the outside. They'll have to make sure the rookie can take a step forward there in Minnesota. Adam Thielen to be back and involved as long as he's healthy. Offensive line isn't great in Minnesota, but isn't horrible either. I think we kind of saw a glimpse of it last year. As long as Dalvin Cook is on the field, he's going to touch the ball close to 18 to 22 times a game. I like Dalvin Cook. I got him down at number 7, though. What do you got number 6?
Number 6, I'm going with Zeke here, Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, the one thing that, again, keeps me from moving him a little bit higher is his work in the pass game is probably going to drop off significantly this year. And that's one of the reasons we've had him so high the last couple of years is because of the opportunities for those targets. I think you're going to see some really good volume, not great volume, good volume, but he's going to be super efficient. His yards per carry is going to be really, really good this year. He's going to have some big holes to run through. I'm just thinking that maybe some of those targets, they go away just a little bit. Maybe they just don't run it as nearly as much as they have in the past. Tony Pollard, not nearly as much of a concern to me now, though, as he was a couple of months ago. CeeDee Lamb's going to get some of those targets.
Yeah, absolutely. I got Zeke right there at 6 also. And really for the reasons you just mentioned, we've loved the passing game uptick the past couple years, but where he may not see that this year, I think he could make up a little bit of the difference in touchdowns. I could see Zeke getting some more touchdowns this year. The offense is going to be explosive with CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. The offensive line is not tops in the league. However, it's still a top 10 unit in the NFL, so he should have plenty of opportunity. I dropped him down a few spots just like yourself right there at number 6. What do you got at 7?
Austin Ekeler coming in next for me. Yeah, they did make the draft to Joshua Kelly, and I have no issues with Kelly. I think he's the guy that could definitely help out, but that right there shows me that still Eckler's the guy. He's still going to see more than enough work both in the passing game, on the ground, and I'm really glad they drafted Justin Herbert because I think Justin Herbert is a big step up over Tyrod Taylor.
Yep, agreed. I actually like Ekeler a little bit more than that. I got him at number 5 overall. After the NFL draft and bringing in Josh Kelly, I think he really hurts Justin Jackson more than he does Austin Ekeler. Can Ekeler go out there and get you 250 touches consistently? Probably not. He's not the type of guy, but he is so efficient behind an offensive line that brought in Trey Turner from Carolina, swapping Russell Okung. That was a slight improvement for them. I like Austin Ekeler, his ability to play all 3 downs in an offense that's going to be able to move the ball. I got Ekeler all the way up at number 5. What do you got for 8?
Miles Sanders comes in at number 8. And I'm not going to give too much away here because I wrote a pretty in-depth piece for Patreon about Jalen Reagor and why he is my wide receiver 1 for rookies this year. And it talks a little bit about this offensive scheme. And I don't want to give it away because it's over on Patreon. So make sure you go over there and you subscribe to that so you can catch that article. But this Philadelphia Eagles offense is going to be awesome this year.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. I have Sanders at 11. So he did crack my top 12, a little bit lower, really only because I don't know if he's going to have the usage that a lot of people want him to have to really get up any higher than that. He doesn't really need it. He's pretty efficient. Last year, he didn't get a game with more than 15 touches until like week 11. He's definitely somebody who can do a lot of damage with not so many touches, and you hit it right there. The offense should be well improved in Philadelphia, and they got a lot of big playmakers. A bunch of home run hitters and go out there and take chunks of yardage. If that's the case, we may see less goal line carries because they're getting their yardage in chunks. I love Miles Sanders, love the upside. He's going to be a steal in the draft this year also, but I got him dropped down a few spots there at number 11. Who you got next, Kyle?
Alvin Kamara is next for me. I know he's a lot higher for you. The one thing that just continues to concern me about Kamara is the addition of Emmanuel Sanders, and it doesn't seem like that big of a deal because Kamara and Sanders don't play the same position. But Sanders is a little bit different than what Ted Ginn has offered to them as kind of that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, depending on how you're looking at the team. Sanders is a guy that can take away some of those intermediate routes, some of those shorter routes that Kamara would typically see some targets in. And then also Jared Cook, his second year in this offense. Last year didn't really get going until about halfway through the season. I expect that to happen a little bit quicker this year, and maybe some of those targets float his way a little bit sooner than we saw last year. So still love Kamara. I still think he has a great amount of upside. I just think some of that volume in the passing game is a little bit less than what we've seen in years past.
I'm admitting it. I love Alvin Kamara this year. I don't know if it's the Kool-Aid I'm drinking or what it is. I am all back on the hype train of Alvin Kamara. The dude was not 100% healthy. He's going to have arguably the best offensive line, maybe aside from the Indianapolis Colts or something like that, to run behind. Their window is closing with Drew Brees. They're not going to go out there, and yeah, they did add Emmanuel Sanders, but I can't believe that this offense is still not going to run through Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. Now, with Latavius Murray in the mix, he may lose out at times, maybe on goal line carries, but I strongly believe that Alvin Kamara is going to return to the form of getting close to 100 receptions this year, and if you're in PPR leagues, he's going to absolutely help your team. And the great thing about it, a lot of people are kind of hopping off the Alvin Kamara bandwagon. He may be somebody that falls to mid to late first round, depending on your league settings. And a lot of people may be overthinking it, in my opinion, and he could be a huge value. I love Alvin Kamara. I got him all the way up at number 3, which I know is high, but I mean, we're talking about somebody who just a few years ago was the number 1 overall running back. So he's definitely capable in an offense that we've seen him produce in before. So I have to keep him at the top. I'm not going to apologize for it either.
I don't think you should.
Okay,
you
perfect. Who you got next?
Well.
Who you got next?
Number 10, Derrick Henry for me. I defended him tooth and nail last year. If you watch his channel and you drafted him, then you might have won a fantasy championship because of it, because we were all over Derrick Henry. Just going to just back off a little bit. Just back off just a little bit this year, not too much. I mean, the guys that I have in front of Henry, with the exception of Zeke, are like the high upside guys with a lot of passing game work that we're going to see. Henry probably not going to see as much in the passing game as we would like, but still going to be super efficient. The offensive line took a little bit of a hit, but still going to be good to run behind. I have no issues with him. He's going to be a running back 1 again for me this year. Just not as high.
Yep. Yeah, I got Henry at 8, so I got him a couple spots higher than you do. And volume is king, right? We just talked about he may not be involved in the passing game much, but he's still going to get close to 300 carries in an offense that really relies on the run. A lot of people are rushing out to crown Ryan Tannehill. And trust me, we both love Ryan Tannehill in that offense in Tennessee. But one of the biggest reasons that Ryan Tannehill finds success is because the defenses have to worry about Derrick Henry on every single play. The guy is just a beast. He's hard to tackle. He's hard to get down, and he's capable of busting big runs. It's not just some big, huge dude that can't move. The dude can move pretty well, and he's shown that ability to break away from defenses. That's still going to be there. Yeah, they did take a hit losing Jack Conklin on the offensive line, but Derrick Henry, in my opinion, somebody who's going to touch the ball still close to 300 times and get all those goal line touches, I still like him. Got him inside the top 10 at number 8. What do you got at 11, Kyle?
At 11, we're going to go with Nick Chubb. Okay. Again, love our boy Nick Chubb, but Hunt is
Not
going.
enough, Kyle.
What?
You don't love Chubb enough.
So, and again, I've got him back this far just because some of that passing game work isn't going to be there for him. I don't think Hunt is going to completely dismantle Chubb's value. He's still a running back one for me. The guy ran for 1,400 yards last year, the fifth most yards over the last like 6 seasons that a running back has had. So obviously a great season for him. Expecting the same thing this year. Again, some of that upside is just going to be limited on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I mean, the addition of Kevin Stefanski there in that offense is going to continue to rely on the running game. That's probably part of the reason they've invested so heavily on improving the offensive line the way that they have. I mean, they've made a conscious effort to go out there and really drastically improve the offensive line in the draft with Jedrick Wills. They brought in Jack Conklin. We just mentioned him from the Tennessee Titans. This is going to be a great offensive line for him to run behind. And yes, he's going to lose some work to Kareem Hunt. But just like he did last year, he was still touching the ball 18 plus times a week at least. And in an offense that we're expecting better from in 2020 than we saw in 2019, he could have more scoring opportunities, more goal line carries. We already know he's capable of the home run, the big run there. I'm not hopping off the bandwagon. I've been on it for a while. I mean, everybody wants to probably give me a hard time because I'm all about the Chubb life. But for me, Nick Chubb's still up at number 4. The touches are there. The production is there. Everything just lines up for me. The offensive line improvements, I got to keep Chubb, in my opinion, up there inside the top 5. I got him at number 4. Who rounds up your top 12? Kyle, who's number 12?
Well, Todd Gurley is going to make a return to running back 1 status this year while he's in Atlanta. And I'm going to tell you right now, this guy is going to get a ton of work. It's a 1-year deal there in Atlanta. They're not under any contractual obligation after this. So run him. Put the ball in his hands, run him. And if he's anything like he was in LA, the guy's going to eat, especially in an offense that you've got Calvin Ridley, that you've got Julio Jones. I mean, Hayden Hurst is there now, so they are able to replace Hooper there at tight end with a guy that can still play the position well and catch the ball a little bit. So, I mean, they're going to still be throwing the ball quite a bit. But Todd Gurley, again, he's going to get more than enough volume, and he's probably going to be pretty efficient with that volume, especially if the knee holds up this year.
And that's the biggest key is the knee. But we said it a few times last year, even when he was with LA. It seemed like they were just resting him at the beginning of the season to make a playoff run the end of the year. And by the time the end of the year came around, they just weren't in the mix. I think he's going to be okay. He seems healthy enough to go out there. And now he's got that chip on his shoulder, the motivation. He gets to go back to Atlanta, going back to Georgia, where he played college football. That's going to account for something in an overall decent offense. The offensive line was another one of those units last year that just couldn't stay healthy. They invested heavily in the offensive line last year in the first round with 2 picks in the first round last year, but they dealt with injuries. Love the pick of Todd Gurley. I have him at 13, just outside of my top 12, but don't hate that pick whatsoever. At 12, I have Kenyan Drake of the Arizona Cardinals, and no, I'm not a homer, and no, their offensive line isn't great in Arizona. However, the way that this offense is constructed, it's similar to a few other teams in the NFL. It doesn't really matter who you put in the backfield. The way that this offense is built, that person is going to find success. We saw it last year, at the beginning of the year with David Johnson. Then we saw Chase Edmonds go out there and set the world on fire for a few weeks. And then Kenyan Drake came in and put a stranglehold on the job. And now that he gets a full year to go out there in this offense that has DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, Larry Fitzgerald, I mean, they still have the young, wide receivers in Andy Isabella and Hakeem Butler. I mean, they got weapons all over the place in Arizona. And Kenyan Drake's going to get, a huge plate. Maybe the most touches he's seen in a year coming up here this year. And he's always produced. He's just never really been given the opportunity at a full season's work. This could be the year for Kenyan Drake, so I got him at 12.
Yep. No, I mean, there's probably 3 or 4 running backs that could easily be interchanged here in these last few picks. So, yep, Kenyan Drake is one of those guys that can easily leap up into a running back 1 status.
Absolutely. So those are our top 12. Myself and Kyle, you see them up here on the screen. But remember, we love to be interactive. So let us know down below. Maybe you see something different. By all means, leave that comment down below and leave us a reason as to why. Don't just put something in there like, dude should be at 10. And then your comment means nothing because okay, who do we remove? Why is said dude going to number 10? I mean, that's what's fun about this is actually conversing back and forth and really building the community and trying to come up with the best possible rankings that we can have going into the year. Because like Kyle said at the beginning, we're going to have football this year, which means we're going to have fantasy football which means it's time to start, getting ready so you can dominate some fantasy football here in 2020. So make sure you leave those comments down below. If you like the content, do us a favor, hit the like button, and maybe you're new here. If you're new here and you've never been here, what took you so long? But hit the subscribe button. I mean, we're going to be covering all things NFL here all year long, at least 3 videos a week. We got some injury breakdowns coming up here later in the week. The schedule, it's going to be released. We're going to be talking about it. Make sure you leave those comments down below for myself and Kyle, though. We appreciate y'all. We look forward to another video, and go check out our other rankings videos because we're going to be doing these for all the other positions. Also, looking forward to that. You guys have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you later.